Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Keeping an Eye on the Geopolitical Ball with me, Jamie Shea, Senior Fellow at Friends of Europe. Just a couple of years back, when we had a new EU leadership, there was a lot of talk in Brussels of a more geopolitical EU and a more geopolitical Europe. Now, where I come from in the UK, we have a saying that charity begins at home, and that's the same also of geopolitics. If you want to be a geopolitical actor, you have to first and foremost demonstrate that you could solve problems in your own backyard, your own neighborhood. And those problems are certainly not lacking for the EU when we look at Ukraine and Russia, or the situation in the Black Sea, the continuing instability in the Western Balkans. But to my mind, the most urgent flashpoint for the EU to look at is the Eastern Mediterranean, where we've seen greater geopolitical rivalry, the possibility of also of military clashes too over the last couple of months. Now, what has happened? Well, on the one hand, there's the well-known dispute between Greece and Turkey that's been going on for several decades, and which unfortunately doesn't seem to be getting any better as the years go by. Both sides have extremely contrasting visions of their territorial waters in the Aegean. Greece tends to treat its islands just off the Turkish coast almost as mainland, in wanting to have a 12-mile territorial waters limit. Turkey has this vision, which it calls blue homeland, where it would control waters in the Aegean equivalent to about two-thirds of the entire size of Turkey. So clearly we need a greater rapprochement in between those two countries. The current situation only seems to generate more potential military clashes every year. Secondly, we have the fact that Turkey has now moved towards the recognition, international recognition of Northern Cyprus, breaking an agreement with the UN and the EU that Turkey would work for the reunification of the island. Thirdly, we have the energy security issue, as more gas fields are discovered in the Eastern Mediterranean off the coast of Lebanon, Egypt, Israel, and now also around Cyprus. There's more drilling, more exploration, and this could be good for the EU in the long run, because that region currently holds about 25 trillion cubic feet of gas, and that would considerably remove some of the overdependence on Russia and keep those soaring gas prices down. So those are the three big challenges: the territorial waters, the future of Cyprus, and the energy issue. But there are a number of challenges associated with them. First of all, the legal challenge of getting Greece and Turkey to agree on a common framework of international law to negotiate productively to solve their dispute. The fact that Greece recently concluded an agreement with Italy on the demarcation of the Eastern Mediterranean on the other side shows that it's possible to have a goodwill solution. The second thing is the diplomatic challenge of trying to persuade Turkey to remove its troops from northern Cyprus and not to go ahead with building drone bases on new naval bases on the island, and to continue to work towards some kind of reunification of Cyprus. The third is the military challenge of coming up with confidence building measures, particularly regarding the summer exercises, so that we avoid the possibility of a military clash. That used to keep my former bosses at NATO active during many August summer months. And then finally, there's the Turkey challenge. We have to recognize that the Turkey of today is not the Turkey of 20 years ago. It's more nationalistic. It no longer sees itself as an annex of NATO and the West, but as a great power standing up for its sovereignty in its own right. It's embraced the authoritarian model. It's grown closer to China and to Russia. And the Turkish military have begun to sort of get into the habit of intervening abroad in places like Libya, in Syria, and Iraq, and recently in the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan in the Nagorno-Karabakh too. Just recently, the Turkish Navy almost rammed a French naval vessel in the Eastern Mediterranean that was implementing the arms embargo against Libya as well. So what can NATO and the EU do to calm the situation down? Well, first of all, I think that we need to give Turkey its own economic exploration zone for gas and oil in the Eastern Mediterranean. Secondly, all of the new pipelines and interconnectors that are being constructed in the Eastern Mediterranean to bring the gas to Europe should also connect to Turkey because it needs gas as well. Just like we have an interest in Europe in securing some of the gas that Turkey has now discovered in the Black Sea. Thirdly, we need a dialogue with Turkey on migration, particularly as we're all anticipating more Afghans fleeing towards Europe since the Taliban took power in Kabul. We need to prevail upon Greece not to go ahead with threats to extend out to 12 miles its territorial waters around its islands. Turkey regards this as a casus belli. We should make it clear to Turkey that we're not prepared to recognize Northern Cyprus and that Turkey should come back within the UN framework for talks on reunification. We should make sure that all of the arms sales that are now going into the region should be linked to de-escalation, not escalation of tensions. But we also, unfortunately, have to recognize that the EU accession process, which worked wonders in democratizing the countries of Central and Eastern Europe after the Cold War, hasn't worked in the case of Turkey. And a new approach is needed, which embraces both carrots and sticks, positive incentives to Turkey to cooperate, but also sanctions if that cooperation isn't forthcoming. For example, we need to link the customs union reform to trade liberalization. We need to link arms sales, as I said, to de-escalation. We need to link money to Turkish cooperation on the humane treatment of migrants and taking back the migrants which are not granted asylum. But we should not give up on Turkey, as so many people seem to do sometimes. It's an important ally. The opposition is still alive and controls the two major Turkish cities today. Erdogan is losing popularity. We have to support civil society in Turkey and not bring about a situation where the military would take back control. Above all, in the EU, we need France and Germany, the two leading powers, to see eye to eye. The Germans have tended to want to cooperate with the Turks because they're worried about migration. France, which signed recently a defense pact with Greece, has tended to regard Turkey as a military challenge in the region. We need France and Germany and all of the EU to speak with one voice on Turkey, because that will give us the greatest chance of all of bringing about a calming down of the tensions in the Eastern Mediterranean. And that would realize that geopolitical Europe, which we would all like to see. Thank you very much for watching and listening today. As always, look forward to engaging with you again next week. Bye for now.